Okay, viewers, let's get started. Romeo and Juliet, the story. Let's think about what is the background of the story that revolves. In that particular era, the society filled with the concept of feudalism, my dear young learners. In this feudalism, what is the concept that revolves here is nothing but it is the family is bound with. There exists some sort of the rivalry that is imported with respect to the concept of hostility and enmity, dear young learners. Here, hostility and enmity, that is mean to say the staunch enemies of, we are going to consider the background, the place we call as Verona. The family here we considered as the Lord Capulet family and Lord Montague family for the consideration. Here there exists some sort of the contrast imagery we should have to think in respect to love and hate and true beauty and infatuated beauty, true love and time pass love, and it is the imagery of white and dark and sorrowfulness with exuberant nature. These are all the contrast imagery we are going to adopt and we are going to expect in this particular love story. It is also called Romeo and Juliet. It has been extracted from the drama called Romeo and Juliet, written by Lord William Shakespeare, dear young learners. Here the background of the story that is also involves with respect to the beauty, the love, the sex and death. This is called thematic representation of this Romeo and Juliet, young learners. Here the concept is like this: Romeo, son of Montague, and Juliet, daughter of a Lord Capulet. Here Romeo belongs to family of Montague, Juliet belongs to the family of Capulet. Those two families are staunch enemies. It is also called, they are the enmity in the way of feudalism manner. They are the rivals on those eras. My dear young learners, before reading this concept, you came to learn what is the effect of literature. Here we are going to tell like this: this is completely a fictitious story. We do not know and we are not have any sort of issues with respect to this is the real story. But on the other hand, it has been could have written in the age of 15th century. Still we are in 21st century. The story is still persisting. My dear young learners, you should also notice that in that Elizabethan era, he started, that is Lord William Shakespeare has started Elizabethan theatre. For that, he wrote so many stories. It may be the comedy, it may be the real catharsis in the way of tragedies. He has written so many dramas to feed the audience of that particular theatre, dear young learners. Out of which, Romeo and Juliet plays a predominant role in the way of the tragedy, and it is the true love story the people are thinking as such. But even though the value with respect to the literature you came to learn, even though it is a fiction, it is a fictitious story, it is still persisting. That is the effect of literature in life, dear young learners. Okay, the background of the story that is revolves with respect to Romeo falls in infatuated love with a Rosalind Capulet. It is a cousin to the Juliet. And one day, Lord Capulet organized a dinner party as his premises, that is also called a ball party. For that, Romeo Montague, he went to that party in disguise to see his infatuated love called Rosalind Capulet. As and when he went to that party, at that time he sees the fascinating girl on the dance floor. She was Juliet. He fall in love with the first sight and he is going to fall with the beauty, and he explains how she was. Then you came to learn as and when I told you the thematic representation of beauty. Here we can't define beauty as such, therefore we can just compare the beauty. Beauty we do not define at all, but we can do some comparison. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ರೋಮಿಯೋ ಅವನ ಆಕ್ಟ್ ಇದು ದಿಸ್ ಈಸ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಲ್ಟೆಡ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ಒಂದು ಡ್ರಾಮಾ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ರೋಮಿಯೋ ಜೂಲಿಯೆಟ್. ಅದರೊಳಗೆ ಬರುವಂತಹ ಆಕ್ಟ್ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಸೀನ್ 5 ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಈ ಒಂದು ಫ್ಯಾಸಿನೇಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ದ he falls with respect to the love with only reference with respect to the beauty, and he exclaims the beauty to be the goddess, and she is identical with that goddess, and he is also predicts like this, and she the bright angel of yesteryears. Therefore, how he is going to exclaims her in this act first and scene 5, he exclaims in the way of, she doth teach torches to burn bright. It seems it hangs upon the cheek of night like rich jewels in Ethiopia's ear. You have to consider like this, as and when you know that he used some imageries. He used some imagery in the way of what is the beauty that is in the white. It is the indication of purity of beauty. That is with respect to the purity of art. It is always signifies with respect to the symbol of white. If we are going to consider the dark, it is always imparts with respect to the sorrowfulness. Therefore, in this act first and scene 5, he considered in the way of masculinity. Masculinity is only concerned with the sun, and in the femininity it's only concerned with the moon. Okay, in the first part of the story, prescribed syllabus, in the act first and scene 5, we only tells about what is, how he is going to compare, and she going to tell, she has been looking to him as, it surpasses the beauty in the way of, she teach torches to burn bright. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾನೆ ಕವಿಯು, ಸೂರ್ಯನಿಗೆ ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ಉರಿಯಬೇಕು, ಪ್ರಜ್ವಲಿಸಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳುವಂಥದ್ದನ್ನು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಅವನು ತನ್ನದೇ ಆದಂಥ ವೇನಲ್ಲಿ ಇನ್ಯಾನಿಮೇಟ್ ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಜೊತೆ ಕಂಪೇರ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾನೆ ಬ್ಯೂಟಿನೆಸ್ನ. ನಿಮಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿರಬೇಕು, ಬ್ಯೂಟಿ ಈಸ್ ಓನ್ಲಿ ಅನುಕರಣವಾದ, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಯಾವುದೇ ಥರವನಾದಂತಹ ಕರಾರುವಾಕ್ಕಾದ ವ್ಯಾಖ್ಯಾನಗಳಿಲ್ಲ. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಅದೇ ಥರ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಹೋಗ್ತಾನೆ. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಇಟ್ ಸೀಮ್ಸ್ hangs upon the cheek of night. You see, what do you mean by the cheek of night here? Cheek of night is once again in the way of exaggeration. In the way of exaggeration, there we are using the figure of speech as hyperbole, dear young learners. If you are going to consider teach torches to burn bright, here burn bright and teach torches, this falls with a consecutive consonant sounds, therefore we call as alliteration. Here usage with respect to the she teach torches to burn bright, it is the indication of alliteration. Next, cheek of night, it is an exaggeration at night. What is the darkness of night? In this way he exclaims in the cheek of night. Therefore that is called exaggeration. And later he is going to tell like that, and she seems to be the rich jewel on the Ethiopia's ear. In the Ethiopia's ear annati illi Ethiopians andre, dear young learners, you should have to think like this. This is where we are going to consider with respect to the South Africans. The skin of South Africans is usually such a dark in color. Therefore, and there we are having abundance of natural resources including diamond. If you are going to put a small diamond on Ethiopia's ear, then you came to learn what was the brightness. He used to compare that brightness with Juliet as such. Next he is going to tell like just, and she is an under lady in the sense she is in the other part of the balcony, as and when you know that he was in a disguised way, he sees his beauty and the dance floor because inner party organized by the Capulet. Therefore he sees on the under lady on the other side, and she is the one and only beauty in the universe, he is going to tell like this. And he said, I want to see a under lady as and when the measure is done. If the dance is over, at that time, I would like to see his place of stand. Dance ಮುಗಿದ ನಂತರ ಅವಳು ಎಲ್ಲಿ ನಿಂತ್ಕೊಳ್ತಾಳೆ, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಇವನು ಹೇಳ್ತಾನೆ, ಮತ್ತೆ I want to touch her. I want to take bless with my rude hand, with her blessing hand. You should have to think in this manner, dear students. Here, he is going to tell like this, his shrine, she is to be holy shrine and he is to be pilgrim. Then, as and when the measure is done, as soon as the end of that particular dance, he wants to see her place of stand. Later, he wants to take a blessing from her, such that she is to be a holy shrine, like a beauty of goddess, and he is supposed to be a pilgrim. Pilgrim in the sense, ನಾವು ದೇವಸ್ಥಾನಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋದಾಗ ನಾವು ದೇವರನ್ನು ಎಲ್ಲದನ್ನು ನಾವು ಕೇಳ್ಕೊಳ್ತೀವಿ. ದೇವರೇ ಭಗವಂತ ಕಾಪಾಡಪ್ಪ ನಮ್ಮನ್ನು ಅನ್ನೋ ಥರದಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಹೇಗೆ ದೇವಸ್ಥಾನಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋಗ್ತೀವೋ ಅದೇ ಥರ ಈ ರೋಮಿಯೋ ಅವಳನ್ನು ಸೌಂದರ್ಯ ದೇವತೆಯಾಗಿ ಕಾಣ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾನೆ. ಇವನು ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾನೆ, ನನ್ನ ಕೈಯೆಲ್ಲ ಪಾಪಕರ್ಮಗಳಿಂದ ತುಂಬಿಟ್ಟಿದೆ, ನನ್ನ ಕೈಯನ್ನು ನಿನ್ನ ಕೈಯ ಮುಖಾಂತರ ಟಚ್ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ ನನ್ನ ಕೈಯಲ್ಲಿ ಇರುವಂತಹ ಪಾಪಕರ್ಮಗಳು ನಾಶವಾಗಿಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ ಅನ್ನೋ ಥರದಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳ್ತಾನೆ. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಅವಳ ರಿಪ್ಲೈ ಅಂತರ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಡಿಯರ್ ಯಂಗ್ ಲರ್ನರ್ಸ್, ಯು ಶುಡ್ ಕನ್ಸಿಡರ್ ಲೈಕ್ ದಿಸ್. ಓಕೆ, ನನ್ನ ಕೈಗೆ ನಿನ್ನ ಕೈಯಿಂದ ಬಂದಂತಹ ಪಾಪಕರ್ಮಗಳು ಬಂದಿದೆ, ಅದು ಮತ್ತೆ ಇನ್ನೊಂದ್ಸಲ ನಿನ್ನ ಕೈಗೆ ಹೋಗಲಿ ಅನ್ನೋ ಥರದಲ್ಲಿ. ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಒನ್ಸ್ ಅಗೇನ್ ಯು ಶುಡ್ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಥಿಂಕ್ ಲೈಕ್ ದಿಸ್, ಡಿಯರ್ ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ಸ್. ಆ್ಯಸ್ ಸೂನ್ ಆಸ್ ದ ಬ್ಯೂಟಿ ಈಸ್ ಅಟ್ರಾಕ್ಟೆಡ್ ಬೈ Romeo, and once again there exists true beauty and love. That once again, that is also called as and when I want to touch yours, then he or she also intended to touch him, such that there exists a bond of love. There exists a bond of love. That is the indication with respect to the usage of religious metaphor with respect to the holy shrine and a pilgrim soul here. And he also exclaims in that the dance floor, he is going to compare with a bird imagery of the dance floor, the group of the girls on the dance floor, to be a trooping crows. Among, she looks like a snowy dove. Snowy dove, once again, it is an indication now purity of love. Purity of love, it once again symbolic representation of whiteness over black. Here the black is an indication now sorrowfulness with respect to the Capulet group of dancers. But the only one girl, her names to be the beautiful girl, refers to be a Juliet, and she is comparable with respect to snowy dove. Snowy dove, it is the indication now purity of love and thought. Then he is going to take the conclusion with the two sentences. Did my heart love till now? ಇದುವರೆಗೆ ನನ್ನ ಹೃದಯ ಯಾರನ್ನಾರ ಪ್ರೀತಿಸುತ್ತಾ? ಫಾರ್ ಸ್ವೇರ್, ನಾನು ದೇವರಾಣ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ. ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಸೈಟ್, ಆ ದೃಷ್ಟಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ನಾನು ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ. ನಾನು ಯಾರನ್ನು ಆ ದೃಷ್ಟಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ನಾನು ನೋಡೇ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಐ ನೆವರ್ ಸಾ ಟ್ರೂ ಬ್ಯೂಟಿ ಟಿಲ್ ನೌ ಅಂತ ಅವನು ಹೇಳಿಬಿಟ್ಟು ಕನ್ಕ್ಲೂಷನ್ ಕೊಡ್ತಾನೆ. ಆ ಕನ್ಕ್ಲೂಷನಿಂದ ನಾವೇನು ತಿಳ್ಕೋಬೇಕು, ಆ ಇನ್ಫ್ಯಾಚುಯೇಟೆಡ್ ಲವ್ ಬಿಟ್ವೀನ್ ರೋಮಿಯೋ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ರೋಸಲಿನ್ ಕ್ಯಾಪುಲೆಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾಸ್ ವ್ಯಾನಿಶ್ಡ್ ಇನ್ ಟು ಥಿನ್ ಏರ್. But only the fascination of beauty, and what is the glorification of beauty, what is going to explain still, that is going to take, and he is going to conclude it with these two sentences. ಫಾರ್ ಸ್ವೇರ್, ನಾನು ದೇವರಾಣ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ, ಇದುವರೆಗೂ ನನ್ನ ಹೃದಯ ಯಾರನ್ನೂ ಪ್ರೀತಿಸಿಲ್ಲ ಅನ್ನೋ ಥರದಲ್ಲಿ ಈ ಒಂದು ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾನ್ಸಾ ವಿತ್ ಆ್ಯಕ್ಟ್ first and scene 5 ends with a masculinity, dear students. Here you should have to learn like this. This is the soliloquy. This is the soliloquy by Romeo. He is going to fascinate. How he is going to fascinate it with the beauty. He fall with that particular beauty, and they do have some two-way love that we consider to be as it's a mingling of those, the love and beauty that comes to the once again the sex with respect to that. In this prescribed syllabus, we only come across with two aspects of first act and third act, dear young learners, but there exists the beautiful balcony story that tells about there exists the real love between them in the way of the exchanging their the touching of those things that is imparts with respect to that particular story, dear young learners. Next, after this, Juliet in the act third and scene 2, she is going to explain what is in the way of femininity. What is the difference between masculinity and femininity here, dear young learners? You should have to think like this. The masculinity is only headed with the Lord, the Sun. Femininity is only used with respect to the moon. Here the moon we consider to be a goddess and the sun is referred to be the god. Here the moonness, you know that moon full day or the moon is every day, we do have some sort of the cycles that is in part with respect to the femininity of 28 days, dear young learners. Therefore, in this Juliet soliloquy, it imparts with respect to the femininity in nature. Therefore, the act third and scene second of that Romeo Juliet plot that tells about femininity, that is the soliloquy of Juliet. Then here you should have to take how she is going to call the knight as the guardian of Romeo. And you should also think like that in the feudalism era, the family, they are not allowed to meet lovers together. Therefore, in the disguisedly, they going to meet each other at night only. Therefore, Juliet wants knight to be guardian for Romeo. Therefore, she is going to tell, oh, come knight, oh, gentle knight, you want to take, please give me my Romeo. This is how she is going to put her enthusiastically the way she has love with that particular person called Romeo. Therefore, this Romeo Juliet, it is a two-way love story. Even though just you came to learn once again the sonatic concept of Shakespeare, here the love is nothing but it is not a time spool. Love is not love if alters when alterations comes. It is not the only with respect to the rosy lip and dimpled chin. Love is not love if it alters when the alterations comes. It is never bound with any obstacles. This is the concept it imparts directly in this stanza of act third and scene second, dear young learners. What she is going to exclaim with the beauty she falls with once again the love he already had the things. And she is going to call us, give me my Romeo, oh knight. You are the gentle knight, you are the black-browed knight. Here once again she is going to exclaim and with exaggeration of knight. And here knight is referred to the guardian to the Romeo, she exclaims several times. And she is going to call the knight as a black-browed knight. It is a gentle knight. It is the genteel in nature. These are the exclamation could have observed in these stanzas, dear students. And she is going to compare him with a new snow on the raven's block. Dear young learners, I told you this is in the sonnet of Shakespearean or the Shakespearean literature. There exists some sort of the clue of woman's before end of the tragic love story, dear young learners. Here the tragedy could have taken place. That is the indication with respect to the woman's. Here the woman is nothing but raven's back. ಏನು ಹೇಳ್ತಾಳೆ, ಅಯ್ಯೋ ದೇವರೇ ಅಂತಂದರೆ ಟೋಟಲ್ ಆಗಿ ರಾತ್ರಿಯೇ, ಕರಿಹುಬ್ಬಿನ ರಾತ್ರಿಯೇ ನನ್ನ ರೋಮಿಯನ್ನು ತಂದುಕೊಡು, ನೀನು ರೋಮಿಯೋ ಅಂದ ಪೋಷಕನಾಗು, ನನ್ನ ರೋಮಿಯನ್ನು ಕರೆದುಕೊಂಡು ಬಾ. ಓ ಕತ್ತಲೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಇರುವಂತಹ ಡಂಬಾಚಾರದ ಕಾಗೆಯೇ, ದಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ರಾವೆನ್ಸ್ ಬ್ಯಾಕ್. ಆಗ ತಾನೇ ಹುಟ್ಟಿದಂತಹ ಬಿಳಿಯ ಹಿಮದಂತಿರುವ ನನ್ನ ರೋಮಿಯೋವನ್ನು ನಿನ್ನ ಮೇಲೆ ಕುರಿಸಿಕೊಂಡು ಬಾ ಅನ್ನೋ ಥರದಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಹೋಗ್ತಾಳೆ. ಇದು ಒಂದು ಥರ ಡೆತ್ ಸಾಂಗ್ ಆಗಿ ಕನ್ವರ್ಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಡಿಯರ್ ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್. ದಿಸ್ ಈಸ್ ದ ಇಂಡಿಕೇಶನ್ ಆಫ್ ವಾಟ್ ಈಸ್ ದ ಟ್ರಾಜಿಡಿ ಕುಡ್ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟೇಕನ್ ಪ್ಲೇಸ್. ದೆನ್ ಶಿ ಆಲ್ರೆಡಿ ನೋಟಿಸ್ he might be died. ದೆನ್ ಅವಾಗ ಇವಳು ಹೇಳ್ತಾಳೆ, ಇಫ್ ಶಲ್ ಐ ಡೈ, ನಾನು ಸತ್ತು ಹೋದಾಗ, ಟೇಕ್ ಹಿಮ್ ಮೈ ರೋಮಿಯೋ, ಕಟ್ ಇನ್ ಟು ದ ಪೀಸಸ್, into the little constellation, that cut him into the little star. Please arrange in that night such that the night becomes the so heaven. It is like a paradise for the people around us. The people are worshipping the night. People are worshipping the night. But he neglects the garish sun. ಅನ್ನೋ ಥರದಲ್ಲಿ ಈ ಸ್ಟೋರಿ ಎಂಡ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಡಿಯರ್ ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನೀವು ತಿಳ್ಕೊಬೇಕಾರದು ವಾಟ್ ಈಸ್ ದ ಮಾರ್ಟಾಲಿಟಿ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಇಮ್ಮಾರ್ಟಾಲಿಟಿ ವಿತ್ ರೆಸ್ಪೆಕ್ಟ್ ಟು ರೋಮಿಯೋ ಜೂಲಿಯೆಟ್ನ ನಾವು ಕರೆಕ್ಟಾಗಿ ಅಬ್ಸರ್ವ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋಬೇಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ. ಇನ್ ದ ಲಾಸ್ಟ್ ಸೆಂಟೆನ್ಸಸ್ ಇಟ್ ಸೀಮ್ಸ್ ಟು ದ ಕನ್ಕ್ಲೂಡಿಂಗ್ ಸೆಂಟೆನ್ಸಸ್. ಇಫ್ ಶಲ್ ಐ ಡೈ, ಯು ಟೇಕ್ ಹಿಮ್, ಕಟ್ ಇನ್ ಟು ದ pieces like a little star, you arrange in the face of heaven. In the face of heaven, that is the moonlit sky, starlit sky. The brightness goes not in the day, but brightness goes in the night. And this is, the sun becomes a lurid and garish. The what we call as so brightful nature of sun, that is, she exclaims in that manner, night is, we need night to meet. We are not supposed to respect this day because we fall with only the feudalism. Feudalism only respect. It is a very dangerous aspects of authoritarian principle. We are not meet together at the day. We love night. Therefore, the night you save us as being a guardian. ಅನ್ನೋ ಥರದಲ್ಲಿ ಈ ಸ್ಟೋರಿ ಎಂಡ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಇನ್ ದ ಲಾಸ್ಟ್ ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾನ್ಸಾ ಯು ಕೇಮ್ ಟು ಲರ್ನ್ ಲೈಕ್ ದಿಸ್, ವಾಟ್ ಈಸ್ ದ ಇಮ್ಮಾರ್ಟಾಲಿಟಿ ಆಫ್ ಲವ್. Love is not timeful. Love is not alters when the alterations comes. Therefore, this is the concept. It revolves in the whole story in the way of catharsis. It is like a star-crossed love story, dear young learners. Even though it is a fictitious story, the usage of literal concept and poetic devices in the way of figure of speeches, then that tells about what actually it is. You can see the exaggeration of thoughts in the way of hyperbole. You can see the contraction between one thing with another thing in the way of bird imagery. You can see what is the metaphor usage with respect to the she is to be a goddess and he is to be a pilgrim. How the beautiful love story that is still persisting. It is forever. Therefore, we should have to think in all the direction of love's. What is the meaning of love? Love of eternality. Love, it is not love. It is only if it alters. As soon as the alterations come, if you are going to consider the love between Rosalind Capulet and Romeo. Romeo and Rosalind Capulet, it has been attracted with the need thing because of the beauty of Romeo. It is fall in love with only with the infatuation. Just to ಅನುರಕ್ತವಾಗಿ ಸಿಂಪಲ್, ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವುದೇ ಥರದ್ದು ಒಂದು ಇನ್ವಾಲ್ವ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಇಲ್ದರೆ ಇರುವಂತಹ ಒಂದು ಲವ್ ಸ್ಟೋರಿ, ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಟೈಮ್ ಪಾಸ್ ಲವ್. ಟೈಮ್ ಪಾಸ್ ಲವ್ ಈಸ್ ನಥಿಂಗ್ ಬಟ್ ಇನ್ಫ್ಯಾಚುಯೇಟೆಡ್ ಲವ್, ಡಿಯರ್ ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್. ಇಂಟಗ್ರೇಟೆಡ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಇನ್ನರ್ ಬ್ಯೂಟಿ, ಸೋಲ್ ಓರಿಯೆಂಟೆಡ್ ಲವ್ ಬಿಟ್ವೀನ್ ರೋಮಿಯೋ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಜೂಲಿಯಟ್ you should have to learn in this aspect, dear young learners. Okay, thank you very much.